to just let it happen. So he opened not his mouth. I know this is a hard concept and a hard thing to do, because when you're going through pain, when you're going through things that are just so, it seems to be so bad and it will never end and it's just going to take you out. How hard is it for you not to say anything to anyone about what's going on? Extremely hard. Because obviously you want to share the things that you're going to. You want to get support on the things that you're going through. You want to make sure that if I'm going through it, somebody else may have went through it and they may have something to offer as a suggestion for me and how I should handle this situation. And with that being said, I'm not saying that we should just suffer in silence and not say anything to anyone. Obviously, the brethren is here for one another, and that is a job that we have. It's a task that we've been given. But also, as believers, we should know that, is it more beneficial for us to suffer in silence, or is it more beneficial for us to reach out constantly to people to ask them to support us? I'm not going to answer that question just yet, because the answer is, Trey, what's the answer? Both. Trey already know where I'm going with it. The answer is both, but we'll get there in a second. We'll just finish up with verse 8. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generations? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgressions of my people, which was he stricken. And we know he died for us. Do we have it in us to not open our mouth when Yahweh is allowing our trials and our tribulations to happen to us? And I'm not.
Repeat the question.
Do we have it in us to not open our mouths, to suffer in silence when we're going through trials and tribulations?
Well, I'll say it this way: the tongue is the hardest thing to control.
The bridle, the tongue is the hardest thing. That member of the body is the hardest to keep under control. And it's almost like it's the next step in your walk, in your spiritual walk. When you get the body contained, you got to get the mind contained. But in there you can just bridle the tongue. It's like that in between. It's the body, the tongue, and then the mind. And in that situation, you basically have to just understand that I want to say something. I want to talk about it. But what should I do? What does Scripture say I should do? Well, just as Trey said earlier, Scripture does give us both. Someone that's earlier in their walk, are they going to be able to bridle their tongue and not say anything about what they're going through? Because they're in an early stage that they don't know that everybody else has already went through that is further down their path. Or those that are equivalent with them are going through the same thing. So they want to find out what in the world is going on. I just found out the names. I just started going to Sabbath, and all HELL just broke loose on me. But somebody that's far along in their path, somebody that's been doing this for years and years and years, when something happens to them and they've experienced it and they went through it over and over again, they might be able to say, hey, look, I know what this is. I know what's going on. And I know what I should do based on what Scripture says I should do. I should go through what Yahweh has for me. I should commit to Him whatever He wants to do in my life to refine me, to make me stronger and better. My wife actually brought a new word to me this week. And that word is stoic. S-T-O-I-C, stoic. Ever heard the word before? Never
Yes,
even
you
thought
have.
about it. Somebody may have said it to me, but I have no idea and don't remember it. Matter of fact, I had to ask her again this morning. What's that word again? Because it's not one of those words that stick and register with me. But stoic, by definition, is a person who can endure pain and hardship without showing their feelings or complaining. Stoic. I definitely would say if you are stoic, you have reached that next level, that pinnacle of understanding of what Scripture requires.